Yui's team throws a party for Lloyd, their newest member, and Lloyd thanks them, gulping down food like he's never eaten before, prompting the others to ask him if he's actually never eaten decent food before. Hearing that the food of this town is bang average makes Lloyd question whether what his master has been feeding him was actual food or not. Yui asks Lloyd about this master of his, and he tells her that his master is a mysterious woman who taught him how to use magic. He spent several years with her in her Lord of the Rings' house. And there she only cooked him what grew naturally in her garden and the wild beasts that lived near the forest. Lloyd, of course, didn't enjoy his master's cooking. So, he started making their meals himself, but never managed to get flavors like he's getting now, and that's why he's gotten so excited. Yui wants to know who Lloyd's master is since she taught him such incredible magic. Silica assumes that Lloyd's master is also a white mage like him, but that's not true. Lloyd tells Silica that his master is more of a combat mage and mentions how she used to experiment with magic, causing explosions very often. Silica is surprised to hear this since she's never heard of a combat mage being so good at support magic as well. Silica wants to learn from such an incredible person. But Lloyd instantly advises her against it, warning her that his master is very brutal as a teacher, but he then corrects himself before they get the wrong idea, telling them that his master is kind at times as well. Anyway, the group moves on to the next topic, and Yui wants to get to their usual strategy meeting. Lloyd is unfamiliar with this term, so both Cross and Dagger suggest they first explain to Lloyd what their next quest is about since he won't understand anything regarding their strategy if he doesn't know what the job entails. Yui, however, hesitates to explain, claiming she's bad at it. So, she asks Daggers to do it. But Daggers flat out refuses, reminding her that she's their leader, so she should start acting like one. But as Yui keeps on insisting, Daggers agrees. And once Yui brings out the quest notice, he explains to Lloyd that their next task is to defeat a pack of monsters that are destroying farmlands. Apparently, these monsters appeared out of nowhere and started trampling all of the farmland. Lloyd notices that Daggers didn't mention what kind of monsters are causing this, begging the question if there are several kinds of monsters. As Silica replies in the affirmative, Lloyd begins to wonder why this phenomenon took place. He's never heard of different types of monsters forming a pack, but Yui tells him to not waste time thinking about the reason and to take action quickly as it is their job as adventurers to help the farmers who are in trouble. Now that Lloyd's been informed, they move on to their strategy meeting when Cross raises his hand, informing the group that he and Yui won't be much help against a pack of wolves. Apparently, Silica is the best suited when facing monsters, and Silica agrees. But at the same time, she's unsure because she will have to use wide-range attacks that consume a lot of mana. Since 3 of them are useless, Yui asks Lloyd if he can cast any offensive magic. Lloyd admits that he can, but at the same time claims his magic isn't as good as the magic that combat mags can produce. Since Lloyd is useless as well, the only useful attacker in their team is Daggers, who comes up with the plan to open their attack on the monsters with Yui. He plans to team up with Yui and lure all of the monsters into one spot and then leave the rest to Silica. And Cross's job as an archer will be to protect Silica and Lloyd from the monsters. As for Lloyd, his job is to use support and healing magic on everyone, a typical task for a white maid. Dagger states that they can figure out the rest on the battlefield and concludes the strategy meeting. Silica expresses how excited she is that she will get to see Lloyd's support magic, but Lloyd himself isn't that excited, and he tells Silica to not get her hopes too high. Even though he's powerful, he undermines himself too much. So Yui advises him to be a bit more confident as everyone in the group encourages him to do their best. Lloyd's mood lights up again. After the meeting, the group starts heading back to their inn, and Lloyd starts walking in the opposite direction as well. That's when Dagger stops him, telling him to come stay with them at the inn. Lloyd awkwardly brings up the fact that he's broke, but Daggers doesn't think money is ever going to be a problem since they are an S-ranked adventurer party. To help Lloyd, Daggers gives him a pouch full of gold and silver coins. But knowing Lloyd isn't going to accept this for free, Daggers tells him that he will be subtracting this money from Lloyd's part of the quest reward. Lloyd promises to work hard to repay Daggers's kindness and then joins the group on their way to the inn. The next morning, the group gathers at the front gate, and Yui comes last, noticing that no one else is carrying any luggage. When she learns that Lloyd can use storage magic, she gives her backpack to Lloyd as well, and he stores it inside his other dimensional inventory. The entire group comments on how useful and convenient Lloyd's storage magic is, and Lloyd offers to teach this magic to them later. With that, the group begins their journey and enters a plain where mountains can be seen in the distance. According to Daggers, demons live beyond these mountains, so they must be careful since their quest location is nearby. They struggle to cross a wooden bridge and Yui comes up with a plan to distract themselves from this scary height. She asks everyone a stupid question. And while everyone gives a silly answer, Lloyd the dumbass answers seriously, leaving Yui wondering if he's retired or something. In any case, she advises him to take things easy from now on since always staying on edge is going to wear him out. While they are joking around the river, there is a black mage in the middle of the same forest and she is casting black magic around the forest. They finish crossing the river and they reach where they will be camping. They need their luggage back and he brings out everything they have kept inside his storage. They are so glad that they have traveled really light and that had made their journey so much faster. They begin setting up their camp. They set the room, get water, and also other things needed for their well-being. After a hard time working and stressing out, Yui is tired and she wishes to take a shower. She asks her party members if she could be excused to take a shower, but they still have other things to do. They have to get firewood and other things. As a result, she cannot go. Lloyd offers to help them get firewood, so she has enough time to clean up. She is glad about his suggestion, so she leaves with Silica. Lloyd arrives at the forest and picks wood. He sees the fruit that his master used to grow with her magic, so he takes it. He takes a bite of the fruit, and it feels so good. Before he could enjoy his bite, he hears a sound in the river. It turns out that a monster has attacked both Yui and Silica in the river, and they are fearful. They try to withdraw, but the monster is quite fast, too. They reverse with their back, but Silica falls off when she reaches the end point. She tells Yui that they have to fight. Fortunately, Lloyd climbs a tree and sees them. He runs to rescue them. Fortunately, before he gets there, they are covered up. He distracts the monster so they can get to the land and he also throws their weapon which he has kept in his storage for them. After which he gives them more strength to fight. Yui goes at the monster and cuts it into half. The other part is still strong, so she asks Silica and Lloyd to run for their safety. She releases a fireball and even to her shock, the fireball defeats the monster at once. She is shocked that her fireball is so efficient. And that is all thanks to Lloyd's magic. She jumps and her towel falls while Lloyd is beside her. And what Lloyd gets in return for coming to their rescue is a hot slap that shakes the entire river. They return to their camp and Lloyd tries to teach them how to make storage with his cheek red from the slap he had just received. He tells them they just have to imagine and do it, but they aren't successful. After a long attempt, they assume they aren't cut for it. But Lloyd insists he may be the bad teacher. Silica figures she could call storage and get it done. And when she does it, she succeeds. They realize they aren't like Lloyd who could use magic without incarnations. So they use incarnations and they succeed. They practice till night and it was a fulfilling day. At night, Yui looks around the area and Lloyd tells her that there are no monsters around. She comes to sit in front of him and appreciates him for joining their party. He didn't have a party too, so he needed them. As a result, he doesn't think she needs to appreciate him. However, she understands that she had forced him regardless. He asks why she is so interested in that quest and she calmly tells him that it reminds her of her hometown. When she was young, her hometown was attacked by monsters and she was the sole survivor. She recalls how she saw bodies around her and she imagined the town will be going through the same thing, so she has to help. She also considers that they won't be feeding well too. Lloyd suddenly sees that monsters are around. He shuts her up and asks her to wake the rest. They go to the forest and see several pauks around. They all wonder where the pauks are going to. And when Lloyd figures the answer to that, he signals to them to walk toward a direction. He knows that pauks react to noises. So he asks them to keep shut. As they walk, Yui mistakenly steps on a stick and the noise calls the attention of the pauks who start chasing them. They run as fast as their legs can take them, but they don't get far as one of the monsters jumps ahead of them and stands in front of them. They are in the middle of danger and they have to fight. They call storage and bring out their weapons. But before they could even fight, the monsters use their magic to throw away their weapons. To make matters worse, the monsters surround them with wolves so much that they can't move. They wonder what they will do, and Lloyd suggests that he could hold the monsters at a place while they fight. He invokes his magic and gets the monsters stuck. So, Yui takes her sword to fight and they also get Silica's weapon back. Yui uses her sword to cut off all the wool holding them. And as she jumps to the last monster, Lloyd asks Silica to fight and cross too. They all jump into the fight and they win. After they win, Lloyd feels bad that he had taken the control by commanding the team. So, he apologizes, but they are fine with it because if he isn't there, they would have lost the fight. They appreciate him for stepping up and taking initiatives, and he is glad that he is accepted at the place. They all return to their camp and the next morning they pack their things to continue their journey. They all invoke their storage and put their luggage so they can leave. However, Lloyd stands there wondering why there are Pauks around and where they were going to. Yui calls out for him and asks him to come. He runs to them, happy that he has now found a party for himself.